Yeah, Fizz Biscuits is here. I'm wondering if Fizz Biscuits is making any moves towards Ming just yet. There's definitely some privateers over here, which I'm going to assume are Japanese privateers. Actually, an easy way to find out would be to go into Hangzhou. No, Beijing. And then hover over this, and it will actually tell you who they are. Malaya. Oh, Malaya. Okay, I'm actually surprised. Malaya privateering the living daylights out of Ming, which is a good idea. What is Ming's mandate like? 51. They do have all of the reforms. But I don't think the anti-Ming alliance wants this to rise too much higher. So they're getting a lot from tributaries and they're getting a lot from prosperity. Prosperity they can reduce by just causing devastation. And a great way of causing devastation, everyone? Blockades! Although, it's still a bit slow. I think the devastation recovery needs to be slowed down. Although they did do that, didn't they? They did slow down devastation recovery, and it's now modified by revanchism? I think that was actually one of my suggestions, which they did, so I'm like... Surprised Japan doesn't king Ming out of the Chinese coastland. Well, Japan, Yarkand, Mughals were at war with Ming last session, but I have to be honest here and say that the Japan fought that one extremely badly. Their ships just basically didn't leave port. They didn't fight the Ming fleet once, and they didn't do any blockades. They've tried to fight Ming toe-to-toe on land, and it just did not work. Last time I blockaded Ming, it took over 100 years, didn't it? Yes, but in this instance, Japan can be blockading the Ming coastline while Mughals and Yarkand, and I guess with Japanese assistance, could be fighting Ming on land. They just did not coordinate that very well, and yeah, didn't go amazingly. Who's that? Karakanulu. What about the Dutch? How much money are they making compared to Arabia? So they're making 70 ducats, Arabia's making 160, Denmark's making 8. How much are you making from subsidies though, Val? You're getting quite a lot of money from subsidies and quite a lot of money from spoils of war. Mostly from Constantinople and the Gulf of St. Lawrence. Really? Constantinople? Surely there are better places to privateer than Constantinople. Like Sevilla. Though I think he's got a deal with Portugal now where he doesn't privateer Constantinople. That's why he's getting subsidies from Portugal. 25 ducats. He's basically saying, don't privateer me and I'll pay you off. So Denmark has done the diplomatic protection racket, which I was suggesting last time. The Japanese military is rather strong just because of their religion, national ideas. True, but this is a very strong Ming as well, because they're completely unified. Like, what you want to do against Ming is break them. You want to cause devastation, because devastation drives up rebel revolt risk. You want those rebels to spawn. War exhaustion also caused by blockades. Once the rebels start, then fight them on land. I think that's why Japan has set up caution. Yeah, possibly. Although, is that a Japanese? That's a Yarkand vassal, not a Japanese vassal. And Cochin was independent. Yarkand declared war on them and then took them. I think, actually, from Ming's nose. Under Ming's nose. Best way to smash Ming involves a massive step horde on the border without being a tributary. It smashes Ming's mandate. Unfortunately, I don't think any of these guys are step hordes anymore. No, they've all monarchized. So, unable to do that anymore, unfortunately. Except maybe Yeren. Nope, Yeren's also a monarchy. They've all reformed. They can do a decree. Expand the palace to bureaucracy. Naval officers, durability plus 20% while fighting Japan? Yikes. Tax modifier plus 25%. Provincial trade plus 25%. Infantry combat ability. I mean, how much money does Ming currently make from taxation? 61 ducats. Yeah, that would be quite a lot of money. I miss the days of the Ming explosion. So do I. At least I wish it was more frequent than it is now. I've seen it once or twice recently, but not as much as I used to. I just noticed something else with Ming. They're completely out of manpower. Completely tapped. And they still need another 20,000 to reinforce. Like, what is Ming's standing military like right now? 310,000. It's just a few. Mughals have 110. Japan has 56. So they could bring about 170 between them. Yark and... These are just... Right, it's showing Ming because I have them selected. It's like, hang on. Who's sneakily playing as Ming right now? Where is Yarkand? So Yarkand is not here today, but that's only 30,000. Yarkand's military is actually not as magnificent as I had expected them to be. They don't have a huge amount of money. They do have rather a few loans. And their military is standing at the majority of their force limit. Certainly not all of it, but much of it. Yawn, yawn, yawn. Yeah, I know, Valiant. Not enough sleep. Like 5 hours sleep last night. Ah. This would be the time to fight Ming. This would be the time to fight Ming. I definitely agree. Part of it might be... I think Yarkand was supposed to turn up today. He's just running late. Am I getting the Warhammer DLC early? Who knows? How's Satmi doing? We haven't looked at Satmi for a while. Satmi is making money. Okay, that's good. And the military is at the 7 out of 8 full units. How's their fort maintenance? 0. Really? So Val built Satmi as like a barrier state and they haven't built any forts in it. Because there is a way of paying for those forts, I think, right? So subject interaction. Builds or upgrades a fort in your march, you pay for the fort. I don't know if that means you can actually choose where it goes. I've never actually used this button before. I think if I was playing as Denmark, I would be placing the forts myself, because you can definitely build in vassal territories, and then use that button to keep them upgraded. Guangato. Dende Pudab, thank you very much for the follows. Welcome to the channel. Why Ming no boom? Because nobody's tried to do it yet. Well, they tried. They just failed. I'm going to be blunt. They tried and they failed. So Mean Wolf currently fighting against Mutapa, Sakalava and Basengo. That place. Pinching the territory under Portugal's nose. So they definitely want to take basically as much of the Mutapa as possible. At least the border provinces here, just so that Portugal no longer has a way into the interior of Africa. And then Busoga just taking, like, what stuff does Busoga have? Loads of iron. Crikey. Couple of slaves, salt, fish, grain and livestock. What's the development of this area like? 9, 6, 9, 13, 14, 13. Actually pretty decent. It's quite wealthy. I've only got 1,000 years in E4 and I never knew you could pay much for a fort. Yeah, you can. That subject interaction is actually really interesting. I really wish that trading cities were subjects. And then you could use the subject interactions to like finance the trade cities and stuff like that. I think that would be much more interesting than the system they have currently. But yeah, they did a lot of work on marches a couple of patches ago. And that was one of them. Still don't understand the Warhammer 2 DLC typed 2 Legendary Lords, 3 if you include the free update. I don't think it's so much about the Legendary Lords this time, Dana. It's about the new mechanics, especially for the Skaven. Like the Undercity mechanics, I think are going to be pretty cool. And also just a bunch of new units. Sometimes when I play as an observer in multiplayers, I try to mess with the nation that a player is fighting. Did it to the Mughals when they were fighting me and they weren't too happy. How? As an observer, you can't do anything. Were you talking about an old school observer? In which case, I think you could. Right, so who's joining Farnik? So, right. After having crashed out. Muscovy, that was the nation that was really heavily in debt. Yeah, we need to take a look at Muscovy and see how they are doing. In fact, while that is loading up, I think I'm going to go and open up a window and see if that stops my yawning. Be right back. Managed to hook my headset around the keyboard. I was like, ah! Right, Muscovy. How are you doing financially now, and is anyone trying to bail you out? You've still got 7 loans, so you have lost about 5 of them. And you are getting subsidies from Vijay. Vijay. Interesting. Oh, another player coming in. Empty roads. This is Yarkand. This is the final piece for the Ming puzzle. Big player war. So there is. We will click on that when I get a chance to. Unfortunately, it's kind of annoying that you can't click on anything when you're on this panel. Like, just nothing is reactive. With the exception of exit to menu, but I'm not clicking that.
Hey.
Hello.
Did you see what happened?
I've seen a thing happen. I haven't, like, been able to click on it or anything.
The war has started.
The war has started. I need to be able to click on someone so I can see what the sides are. Because I know that France was allied to the Commonwealth.
Yes. They have maintained that alliance.
Interesting.
Prussia, Netherlands, Italy, not yet Muscovy, but Andalusia, Portugal, and Ireland versus the Commonwealth, Hungary, and France.
Interesting. Definitely going to be watching this one, because I know where the armies were. Let me zoom in. Oh, it's so annoying not being able to do anything while this panel's open.
I agree. It's very frustrating.
Especially when I'm like trying to keep people entertained and like talking about what's going on. I'm like, I would zoom in and show you this thing, but I can't right now. Arabia is in as well, yeah.
Yep, and Arabia, yes, excuse me. Alright, I should probably head back.
Yeah, you probably should. Things are going to be happening.
Just thought I'd let you know. Bye-bye.
See ya. Alright, so we do have a war. Let's go and click on the Commonwealth real quick, just so we can see a comparison of the different sides. I'm going to keep it on the side so I can actually see what's going on. But we have the Commonwealth, Bohemia, France, and Hungary versus Prussia, Andalusia, Arabia, Ireland, Italy, Netherlands, Portugal. And it is 192,000 infantry versus 579,000 infantry, 440,000 versus 94,000, and then 103 versus 255. Commonwealth actually bringing a lot of artillery, although the discrepancy in infantry I think may be the deciding factor. Naval war going on as well, France versus Portugal being the first conflict. But we have a battle coming in. We have the massive coalition forces coming in on Prussia. Battle is joined, 6.2 morale versus 6.1. None of the allies actually anywhere nearby. 120 discipline versus 129. And the Prussians getting completely schooled right now. I think that they were jumped and nobody was expecting this. The Dutch were about to jump in there. starting to force march. They're going to get in there now, but they're too far away. They've joined this battle in too much of a mishmash, and they're also in a -2. Like, this is not a good fight for them to fight. This was a really bad defeat for the Allies. And look at the losses they're taking, 2,000 versus 200. Like, that's going to be a huge deficit in terms of manpower. Like, I would not have fought that. I think I would have run away as quickly as I possibly could. That was a enormous defeat. So that's 27,000 losses to 117 already. So there are going to be some other battles going on somewhere. Might have been something going on down here. It does look like the Italians are pushing into Hungary pretty aggressively. I don't know if the Commonwealth is going to try to push into Prussia or if they're just going to react defensively, although it does look like Hungary is pushing. This is the Prussian conquest of Gdansk. Danziger War! It's Hearts of Iron all over again. Prussia really failed there. Yes, Prussia really did fail there. Commonwealth is Russian divisions from Novgorod when they vassalized them. And I think that just destroyed the Prussian manpower. Prussian manpower is still okay-ish, but I think I would be considering using some mercenaries now. And also, such a humiliation of the Prussian forces, which were probably one of the best forces that the Allies could bring against the Commonwealth, is probably going to make them a little nervous about future engagements. I think they did get over arrogant there. 50 infantry combat ability, 20 cavalry, and 10 artillery, plus, of course, the discipline, which I can never find now since this was reorganized. That's tactics. Where the hell is discipline gone? It's morale. Oh, there, 123. I was expecting that to say 23. Versus the Commonwealth's military combat abilities of 128 discipline, 40 infantry, 93 cavalry, and then 10 artillery. Although, Commonwealth, how many cavalry units do you actually have? You have 26 cavalry units, 106 infantry. Definitely a large push going into Hungary. I can see that Jamie has studied at the School of Calico for how to organize an army, suffering a huge amount of attrition to a huge doom stack. Like, there is no reason to do this. None. Just make sure you keep your armies boxed together in the same way that Italy is doing, and you'll be fine, especially if you put these guys on force march to join the battle quickly. Okay, so the Dutch are fighting against Bohemia, Bohemia being AI, so I would expect the Allies to win this one. Prussia coming in to assist. They do both have 3-star generals, and the Bohemian army being forced to withdraw there. Commonwealth sitting in the centre of the country. We have Muscovy attacking from the east. This is why they were waiting for the Muscovian player, because they wanted basically to open that extra front. I guess they could not secure Mughal support. Now, what are the Mughals going to be doing during all of this? I think that's going to be a very interesting one to watch. Mughals might well sense weakness in either the Commonwealth or Arabia and decide to jump in. And either of these could exchange some pretty hefty bribes towards the Mughal player. Alright, Hungary is fighting against Muscovy here. Hungary bringing 40,000, Muscovy 10. Do Hungary still have an army over on this side? No, they don't. So Hungary withdrew and then started attacking Muscovy, probably on the orders of Helson, while Bohemia is still being stomped by the Dutch. Now, what of the other allies? So we have Andalusia and Portugal, who are going to be fighting against France. France not yet moving to intercept anything. Florida is a forest. That would be a -1, probably a -2, depending on how the rivers were attacked. And holding Florida is a good idea, because it's going to allow you to siege down New Mexico. These are so weird names. Fairly peacefully. Although, this is going to be like 70,000 men attacking 35,000, unless, of course, Andalusia has more troops hidden nearby. They have a few. And actually, the Irish seem to be pouring troops in, and then, of course, the Portuguese over here as well. Reloading player. How is this? Arachnis. This is Diviet. Okay, so Diviet is now no longer unprotected. Good stuff. And all of those guys did turn up. Just changing my paperwork there in the background. Andalusia and Portugal, an unholy alliance. Did Andalusia, well, did Granada ever fight again? Yeah, they must have fought against Portugal historically. Or at least they start the game with a truce against Portugal, so I suspect they did.